first signs of autism?
First signs of autism. So with our son, the early signs were he actually regressed in his speech, sort of. He was doing sign language, and then all of a sudden, as early communication. So if he was thirsty or hungry, or he wanted more, he would do signs. But then he stopped doing the signs, and then his speech delays. But then he also had some smaller ones we didn't realize. Where was I? Oh, so early on I thought maybe he had opposition defiance disorder, which is complicated because he would literally be like, I would say, sit down, and he'd be like, no, stand up. Or even though it was like, it didn't make any sense why he would argue about it. Other signs was you had to read his story at night. I had to read it like a certain way, and every day we adapted it a little bit. But if it wasn't read like a certain way, he'd get really upset, and like extremely angry. Not like, oh, he's pouting, but like he'd be screaming because it wasn't the way he wanted it. And then, but again, the biggest sign was his speech delays. And then when he learned language, a lot of times it wasn't in a normal way. So he would call my wife dad. I don't think he called me mom a lot, but I think he just used dad like as an interchangeable parent. Or if he would learn how are you, and he would not know the individual words. He would just almost like a parrot saying how are you. Like he would memorize the whole phrase and didn't understand that it was broken up into like separate words. And a lot of it was like words or a lot of times it was phrases to like get specific results. So those were the early signs. And then eventually we got him evaluated because we had speech therapists coming to the house to work with him. And I was always sort of thinking maybe autism early on, but I also worked with children with special needs and different neurological or physical disabilities. And so I always wasn't sure if I was just being paranoid or if, it was what was happening. And so it turned out that, yeah, he did in fact have autism.
Our first signs of autism for our kids, the delay in their speaking, walking on their tiptoes. Destiny's still doing that. So we can put shoes on, but it's, yeah.
She still does it with shoes on. And we didn't know what autism was until a friend who works in childcare told us that Malachi was walking on his toes, and that was a sign of autism.
Yeah. Lining things up in a row. All of them did it.
Yeah.
Just depending what it is, like little cars, Destiny with the shoes lately. It could be anything.
Pencils.
Yeah.
Hair ties.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest things. I think it's not really related, but Aaliyah and eating whatever.
Yeah, she's
anything.
But she's also got GDD as well. The doctor said that's why she does it, because she doesn't...
Developmental delay.
Yeah, she's not developed where she understands what's food and not food.
I think all the kids, when they were babies, had reflux.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the...
sensory.
Foods. They very fussy.
Yeah.
So...
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's been so long. Well, difficulty communicating.
Did you do any hand flapping? Any of those?
Oh, stimming. Lots of stimming. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the term stimming. It's just repetitive behaviors. I don't know if it was hand flapping. It's hard for me to remember. You develop one and then another. You would always have one or two that he would call upon. One thing he's always done, I should say always, probably since he was 10 or so, is he paces. He paces a lot. It's great for the exercise. He's grown up fairly thin and he's got healthy legs, that's for sure. And in fact, when he started going to MATC, he would walk to MATC from a mile that way to MATC downtown, or the MATC on Greenfield and 68th. So, but I can't remember any of his stimming behaviors anymore. Yeah, but lots of stimming. Their typical obsessiveness with Star Wars and Legos and now Disney, apparently. He's developing some kind of regressive behaviors, apparently, where he really seems to want to be a kid again. And he certainly seemed like a happier person back then. Now he seems more bitter in his early 20s. And I can see why. He's just, he's by himself all the time.
What were your first signs of autism? I remember you, well, not knowing that it was autism, he butt scooted and never crawled. So that now I look back and think, and crawling is a very important, that's very important. So you even crawl nowadays at the age of 21, don't you? And he would do we thought it was cute, he would be going like this, and we'd say, oh, look at, he's revving a motorcycle up. But that was possibly the first signs of hand flapping, and we didn't know. But like those pictures that I have, I don't believe he was born with it. Something in between like a year and a half and 2 years old happened that just sort of was a trigger and pushed you over the edge. And he went from saying mommy and daddy and bye-bye and all these words to nothing and screaming and yelling. And so, that's what we noticed. Then he'd you wouldn't play with toys. You'd either line him up or he would go outside and not play with any of his toys, and he'd look at car tires from every angle, and you would go around and you'd look at the mailboxes and things like that. Do you remember being that little? Do you remember when autism happened to you, Gavin? We'd like to know that. Think about it. Do you remember when autism happened in your life?
O-N-F.
No? Okay, get it.
D. One day the way my life was developing changed and you were sad.
I was sad, Gavin. I know, because you were doing well, and then all of a sudden you weren't developing as well, and then Mom was like, oh, what can we do to make it better? And then that's when we found out about birth to 3 and got you into birth to 3, and then that ended, and then we got you into the early childhood development at the school, and then we had ABA therapists start to come and work with you, and look at you now. And then we learned how to communicate good. Yeah. So it is a scary thing when autism happens. That's why we have to help people understand it. All right.